Cloning is presented as a means for creating life, not destroying it. Yet, it shows disrespect toward human life in the very act of generating it. Cloning completely divorces human reproduction from the context of a loving union between man and woman, producing children with no parents in the ordinary sense. In vitro fertilization has already led to the confusion of parentage, but cloning will mean the radical rupture of these bonds. It has been said that cloning could be used to create copies of illustrious people, to replace a deceased loved one, or even to provide a source of spare tissues or organs for the person whose genetic material was used for the procedure. In each proposal, we see a utilitarian view of human life, in which a human being is treated as a means to someone else's ends, instead of as a person with his or her own inherent dignity. This same attitude lies at the root of human slavery.
The first is the issue of acting like God or acting in place of God or playing God, which is the kind of term that you hear from religious thinkers in this area. Now, I am in a sense speaking for myself, but I think I represent the consensus, really the unanimity of all Jewish thinkers that I know of that have written or spoken on this subject. Acting like God is not a negative from a Jewish perspective. It is in fact a positive. We are created in the image of God. There is within Talmudic literature, within rabbinic literature, the statement that if you do such and such, you become a partner in the work of creation with God. That is among the highest accolades that we have. It's a very positive thing to be. I don't think we have a history of ever banning or wanting to ban a technology. Technology is, in some senses, value neutral. You can use it for good, you can use it for bad. The concern is how you use it. But every technology is a tool given by God to us to be used to improve the world if we use it in the right way. I want to focus on human cloning in particular. It is hard for me to see that if you have someone who, for example, was a Holocaust survivor, whose entire family was wiped out in the Holocaust, and who himself was a victim of Nazi experiments and was castrated, that we would say to such a person, you can't clone to reproduce. You can't continue your existence in that way. I would never say no if that were asked to me as a religious question. I would hope that we don't legally prevent that as well. If the only way that you could get bone marrow from someone was to allow a clone to exist as a child, I would never say no in that circumstance to people to be able to go forward in this way to create a life. I agree that a clone is a human being. It has human status. It has human status from the moment of conception on. And so I think what you have is a situation where I think it should be allowed to go forward under strict regulation in a way in which it's being used for positive kinds of things.